here from Virginia Grace Living. Today we're going to be taking care of some of these pumpkins here. We grew a bunch of jack-o'-lantern pumpkins, so we're actually probably not going to do anything with those right now. We bought some heirloom pumpkins that we're going to take and cut them up, save some of the seeds to grow those next year, and we're going to try and preserve some pumpkin puree. So we're going to take those and bake them, scoop out the insides and puree them. We're actually just going to freeze them because pumpkin is very low acid and it's hard to can. You can can it with a pressure canner, but they recommend most people just freezing them actually. It's easier and I don't have to mess with the pressure canner. So right here we have, I'll show you some of these pumpkins that we have real quick. So out of the heirloom pumpkins, we have, this is a Yardell pumpkin, I believe it's pronounced. This is a, they just call this a peanut pumpkin, and you can see it's kind of got some of those peanut looking outer bumps on it. They're actually a French pumpkin that I don't know how to pronounce the actual French name, so I just call it a peanut pumpkin. And then this is what's called a Cinderella pumpkin, which is also a French pumpkin that I don't know how to pronounce the actual French name. So we're going to take these and see you know, how they look on the inside, and hopefully we can do some cooking with them. These are supposed to be really good for cooking with. They're supposed to have a thick flesh. It feels very heavy out of all the pumpkins. This is the heaviest one, but I've also heard these are very good and sweet. So we'll just see what all we have, and then keep on trucking, see what we get. These jack-o'-lantern pumpkins that we grew turned out pretty nice too, but we should have planted them a little earlier. They're still green somewhat. We have some orange ones too, but they're mostly had some bigger green ones. We could have left on the vine a little longer, but got tired of it taking over our yard. So this is what we got right here. So yeah, we're gonna take these inside and get them cut up and put them in the oven, get the stuff out, and puree them down. Okay, got the pumpkins inside. We're gonna go ahead and get these cut up here in a few minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and preheat the oven to 350, and we're gonna get these cut up. I'm gonna see how much I can fit in the oven. I might cut this one up and put it in the crock pot. I've read that you can do that as well. So this is my first time. I'm not an expert by any means, but just follow along and see what happens. Alright, out of curiosity, before I cut these up, I just kind of want to see how much they weigh. So this is that Cinderella pumpkin. So you get the scale to zero out first. And this one is 12.2 pounds.
That's a big pound.
It's a big pound?
Yeah.
Alright, then we got the Cinderella pumpkin.
The Cinderella, when I try and put
Get
it
to
on
zero
there.
out again. Come on, zero. And this one says 13.2.
You put. Ew. This giant.
There you go.
This giant pumpkin, I can't even pick it up.
I know, watch out, it's heavy.
Yeah, it's
Let's
really
see if I can get it. Oh man.
Oh, that's heavy. I can help you.
Okay. And we'll set it on here. I may have to.
Yeah.
Alright, let's see. Right now it says 27.4, but let's zero out the scale.
Alright. Yeah. It's lighting up on there.
27.4.
Perfect.
So those are some big pumpkins. So this one, hopefully we can get it cut up and fit in the oven. That one we're going to cut up and try and see if we can cube it up and put it in the crock pot. This one, I don't know. We'll just wait and see what happens with this one. Alright, so this is the Yardell pumpkin, or Hardell. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. We're going to get it cut up and see if we can get it to fit in the oven. So be careful when you're cutting pumpkins. They're really hard. And if you're using a sharp knife, which you should be, just make sure your fingers and everything are out of the way.
No kids allowed.
No kids allowed.
No kids allowed to cut this. Only with your parents.
Right.
safe and don't hurt yourself while I'm cutting a pumpkin. That's bad.
Yep.
That's a giant. It looks like a pumpkin sunflower.
A sunflower?
Yeah, a pumpkin sunflower.
Look at the back side of it. Looks kind of cool.
Yeah. Do you like the back side?
I do. Alright, you have the pumpkin finally all cut up. Yeah, that was kind of a chore. It was really hard to cut through, but got it all cut up finally. Ended up with a ton of pumpkins, so I'm going to pop these 2 pans into the oven. I still have this here, so I'm probably not even going to worry about cutting this one up today. This one I'm going to cut up still and see if I can fit in the crock pot, and maybe whatever, if I get that one and then these 2 pieces in the crock pot, that'll be cool. So this is going to go in the oven. It's at 350. I'm going to put it in for an hour and then check it and see how it's doing. So let's try and go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and cut up the peanut pumpkin. I'm going to go ahead and cut and cube this up and put it in the crock pot and whatever else I can fit in there. Alright, so I got it cut up in the crock pot. I actually have still quite a bit of pumpkin left that I'm going to have to figure out how to deal with. But I also have a pressure canner that just came in, so I'm going to try and figure out how to use that. And this pumpkin's just going to have to wait. But we got it in the crock pot. I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on and plug it in. And we'll just put it on high for a few hours. We'll just check on it. Once it starts getting softer, we'll put it in the food processor and puree it up and put it in bags for the freezer. Alright, so I actually ended up with so much pumpkin that I had to come up with another way to cook it all in one day, unless I wanted to spend a few days with the oven and everything else. So I read up online. I have a big stock pot. I just cut it up and covered it in with water and boiled it for about 20 to 30 minutes. So just kind of follow along with the next part and see how to do that. Alright, so far the boiling of the pumpkin seems to be that it may be the easiest overall. So I'm going to boil these until they get soft, drain off all the water, puree it, and then drain off any excess liquid that I can. But yeah, I still have some in the oven and the crock pot, which these are going to seem to take way longer. So, but trying out 3 different ways, and I'll show you guys and tell you guys which is the best. At the end, I'll tell you which is the best method, what is good for each method, whether, you know, they all have their advantages and disadvantages. But as of right now, it seems like the boiling the pumpkins is going to be the easiest and quickest way to deal with them. Alright, so I did the boiling. I boiled it for, I don't know, probably 20-30 minutes. And it's really soft. I'm going to go ahead and put it in my Ninja, process it, and drain off any extra liquid that I have. I tried to drain off as much as I could, but we shall see. So that's the only disadvantage I could see so far with the boiling, is when you boil and you drain off liquid, maybe you lose some flavor there. Not really sure, but we shall see. I'll let you know. Well, that looks pretty good, actually. Let's see. I'm gonna dump it in a pot over here, and I'll keep doing it until I get rid of all of this, and we shall see. Word of caution, though: if you're gonna do this, start in the morning and not midway through the day like I am. So yeah, I started at like 2 o'clock. Right now it's about 5 o'clock and I'm still not done. So keep in mind, this is something that actually takes quite a while, and me being my first time doing this, I had no idea how long it would take. I don't mind because I like doing this kind of stuff, but it does take a while, so give yourself plenty of time. Okay, here's what I ended up with from just what was the leftover pumpkins that I was going to roast in the oven and the crock pot, and I didn't have room. So this is a really nice smooth consistency. It looks like a really good pumpkin puree. But we'll see. I mean, I plan on using this stuff and maybe bread, pies, maybe make some pumpkin soup. But we'll just see. So here's the oven roasted right here, and I pulled it out, and I think it's done. It's really soft. So I'm gonna scoop all that stuff out, and then we're gonna puree that up and see what we end up with. This may actually be better for the pie, just because it won't have any extra water content in it, and it may have a little better flavor because we don't boil it, but I'm not sure, so we'll see. Alright, I'm just going to try and get as much of the flesh off of the rind here as possible and put it back in this big pot, and then start pureeing it up from there. I haven't added any salt or sugar or anything at all at this point, so bear in mind, if you're doing this, that if you want to season it or whatever, you can do that. We'll probably just add in all our salt, sugar, spices, whatever we're going to do whenever we go to cook with it. That way we can leave this in its purest form and do, you know, a lot of different things with it. So we ended up with a lot more pumpkin than we thought we were going to get, but we should be able to use this, and it should last us a while. And then I'm saving some seeds over here too. I got to dry the other ones out, but plenty of seeds in one pumpkin. I didn't even save close to all of them, but alright, I'm gonna get all this out, put it in here, and then I'm gonna blend it up. Okay, so for sure the simply baked pumpkin puree is a lot firmer, which might be good for the pumpkin pie. And I did try to use my immersion blender, and that didn't go very well, honestly, so I wouldn't recommend that. Just put it in your food processor or your blender. I have the Ninja, so that works really well. But yeah, this is much firmer. So that'd be good for pie. And I'll make sure to label it so we know what we got going on. It's honestly not that hard, it just takes longer. So I cooked this at 300 for probably about an hour, and then I kicked it up to 400 for about another, I don't know, 50 minutes. So it was about 2 hours in the oven, but it's really thick rind pumpkin. So depending on what kind of pumpkin you use, it may not be so bad. Right now we have 3 bags, which these are quart-sized bags, full of roasted yardelle and the pureed, and then 3 bags full of boiled yardelle, and then they've been pureed. So I still have this crock pot full right here of the peanut pumpkin that I'm gonna have to deal with here in a little bit. But so I'm gonna actually just freeze these like that. I'm gonna probably leave a fresh bag in the refrigerator so that Tiff can make a pie. But yeah, we'll try it out. I'll keep you guys updated on the flavors and everything. Alright, last but not least, the crock pot pumpkin right here. Sorry, I'm a little tired, so this has been going on for a while. But let's check out the crock pot pumpkin here. Alright, it's done. Looks like sweet potatoes or something. But it's nice. So there's some water in here. I'm gonna go ahead and I did not add any water to this, so that's all from the pumpkins. I'm gonna drain that off, blend it up, bag it up, and then we'll be done. Alright, so this is the crock pot pumpkin, and it honestly has about the same consistency as the boiled, but I will say this is a different pumpkin too. So I did the yardelle as boiled and roasted, and this is the peanut pumpkin. I know it has a French name. I don't know how to say the French name, but so this is kind of that same consistency as the boiled. Honestly, don't know if I would ever do the crock pot method again, just because it takes longer and you end up with about the same thing as you would do if you were doing boiled. So I mean, if you're doing pumpkins anyways, you're in for some work. So the crock pot, I mean, maybe it'd make it a little easier on you, but to be honest with you, it's a lot of work and a lot of cleaning and a lot of cutting and, you know, anyway, so you might as well just go ahead and roast or boil it. So I would say overall, for if you're doing it for pumpkin pie, I would do the roasted. If you're just doing this to save this to maybe make a soup, or maybe, you know, other recipes that call for puree pumpkin, you know, whichever one you feel is easier. But boiling would be easier than the crock pot because it only takes about 20-30 minutes, and then you just blend it up. So yeah, that's my assessment. But I'm gonna get this bagged up back in the freezer, and then, you know, we'll end up with, I don't know, quite a few bags of pumpkin puree. So thank you guys for watching. I'm tired. I'm gonna get these put up and get to bed.